Welcome to UniHouse English Podcast. In today's episode, James and Sarah have a long and deep conversation about how learning English transformed their professional and personal lives, helping them reach new heights and discover new parts of themselves.
Hey, Sarah. I was just sitting here thinking about my old life before I started learning English, and wow, it feels like a completely different world. Or maybe a different person lived that life. Do you ever feel like that too?
Oh, James, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Before I could speak English, my world was actually quite small. Like, I only stayed in my neighborhood and only talked to the same 3 people every single day. Now, everything is just so big and exciting, and I feel so much more confident when I go outside.
Exactly. For me, the biggest change was definitely my job. You see, I used to work in a very small office where no one spoke English, and my salary was, it was okay, but I couldn't grow. Then I studied hard for 2 years, and suddenly I got a job at an international company. I was so surprised when they called me for the interview.
Wait, really? That is amazing! I remember when you were studying those grammar rules every night. You were always so tired. But look at you now. For me, it wasn't just about a job. It was about traveling. I remember my first trip to London. I was so confused at the airport because I couldn't read the signs. I almost cried because I thought I was lost forever.
Oh, I remember you telling me that story. You were so scared. But then you started practicing your listening skills with those podcasts and movies. Now you can fly anywhere in the world and talk to anyone. That must feel like a superpower, right? It's like having a key that opens every door in every city.
It really is like a superpower. Last month I went to a cafe in Italy, and even though I don't speak Italian, the waiter spoke English. We talked about coffee and the weather for 10 minutes. If I didn't know English, I would have just pointed at the menu and stayed silent. It would have been so boring and lonely.
That is a great example of how it changes social life. I also think about the internet. Before, I could only read websites in my native language. Now I can watch YouTube videos about cooking or science or history from people in America, Australia, or even India. It's like the whole internet finally makes sense to me now.
Yes! And what about movies? I used to hate subtitles because they move too fast and I missed the actors' faces. Now I can understand almost everything in the Avengers or Friends without looking at the bottom of the screen. Well, sometimes I still need them for the fast parts, but it is much better than before.
Oh, I still struggle with those action movies sometimes. They speak so fast, But I feel so proud when I understand a joke in English. In the past, when my friends laughed at an English movie, I just sat there looking confused and pretended to laugh too. It was quite embarrassing, to be honest.
I did the same thing. I would just nod my head and say, yes, yes, very funny, while thinking, what did he say? But now I actually get the humor. It makes me feel like I am part of a global community. We are not just people from one country anymore. We are English speakers from everywhere. It's a very special feeling.
You're right. And think about the music. I used to listen to pop songs and just hum the melody because I had no idea what the lyrics meant. I used to think Shape of You was a song about a literal shape, like a triangle or a square. I was so wrong, and now I can actually sing along and feel the emotion of the song.
A triangle? That is hilarious, James. Well, for me, English also helped me make my best friend. She is from Japan, and she doesn't speak my language, and I don't speak Japanese. English is our only way to communicate. If we didn't have this language, we would be strangers. That thought makes me a little sad, actually.
It is amazing how a language can build a bridge between 2 people from different sides of the planet. I also think it changed my personality a little bit. In my own language, I am a bit shy, but when I speak English, I feel like I am a more adventurous version of myself. Does that happen to you too, or am I just weird?
No, you are not weird at all. I feel exactly the same way. It's like I have an English personality that is more outgoing and brave. Maybe it's because we have to try harder to be understood, so we become more active. Or maybe it's just the excitement of using a new skill. Either way, I really like the English Sarah better.
I agree, but it wasn't always easy, was it? I remember being so angry when I couldn't remember the past tense of bring. I kept saying brang or brought it. I felt so stupid and I wanted to quit many times. My teacher was patient, but I was just so frustrated with myself. It took a lot of practice to get over that.
Oh, I remember that. You called me and said, I am never speaking English again. But you didn't quit. And that is the secret, I think. You have to keep going even when it is hard. Now, look at us. We are having a long conversation in English about our lives. That is a huge achievement for both of us, don't you think?
It really is. I also think English changed how I solve problems. Because learning a language is like a big puzzle. You have to find the right pieces and put them together. Now, when I have a problem at work, I don't get as stressed. I just think, well, if I can learn English prepositions, I can do anything.
That is a great way to look at it. Prepositions are definitely harder than most work problems. You know, another thing is reading books. I started reading small stories in English, and it felt so good to finish a whole book in another language. It gave me so much pride. It was like I had conquered a mountain.
I remember my first book too. It was a very simple story about a cat, but it took me 3 weeks to finish it. Now I am reading news articles every morning. It helps me see different perspectives on what is happening in the world. I feel much more informed and, intelligent, I guess you could say.
Exactly. We are not just learning words. We are learning new ways to think. I also noticed that I am better at listening now. Because I had to listen so carefully to English speakers, I started listening better to people in my own language too. It made me a better friend and a better listener in general.
That is true, but sometimes I still get confused with idioms. Like when someone says it's a piece of cake, I still look around for actual cake for a split second. It's funny how the brain works. My brain is still half translated, you know? It's like a computer that is still downloading a very big file.
I love that metaphor. The download never really finishes, does it? There's always a new word or a new slang expression to learn. But that is the fun part. It keeps life interesting. I would hate to wake up one day and have nothing new to learn. English gives me a goal every single day.
I feel the same. Also, think about the future. Now that we have this skill, we can help our children learn too. We can give them a head start that we didn't have. My parents didn't speak a word of English, so they couldn't help me. But I can help my kids with their homework and give them a bigger world from the start.
That is so beautiful, James. It's a gift that keeps giving. And think about the people we have met in our English classes. People from all over the world with different cultures and different food. I have learned so much about the world just by talking to my classmates. It made me much more open-minded.
Yes, I agree. Before, I was a bit afraid of people who were different from me. But now, when I talk to them in English, I realize we all have the same dreams and the same fears. We all want to be happy and successful. English showed me that we are more alike than we are different. It's very powerful.
It really is. So if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who is just starting to learn English and feels like it is too hard, what would you say? I think it is important to encourage people because it really can change their lives forever, just like it changed ours.
I would say, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are just proof that you are trying. I made thousands of mistakes, and I still make them today, but every mistake taught me something. Just keep talking, keep listening, and don't give up. The reward is so much bigger than the struggle. What about you?
I would say find something you love and do it in English. If you love cooking, read English recipes. If you love video games, play them in English. It makes the learning process feel like a hobby instead of a chore. That's how I stayed motivated during the difficult times, you know?
That is great advice. Well, Sarah, I have to go to my English business meeting now. Can you believe it? Me in a business meeting in English? 10 years ago, I would have laughed if you told me this was my future. Life is truly full of surprises when you speak a second language.
Good luck with your meeting, James. I am sure you will do great. I am going to go finish that English novel I started yesterday. It's a mystery, and I think I finally figured out who the killer is. Let's talk again soon and share more of our English adventures. Have a wonderful day.
You too, Sarah. Bye for now. It was really nice to reflect on how far we have come. It reminds me that all that hard work was definitely worth it. I'll call you later to hear about the book. See you later.